This video is going to both serve as a film study look at the Ravens' 27-25 loss to the Buffalo Bills in the AFC divisional round Sunday night, and a pseudo reaction video that I was unable to produce late Sunday evening after the game. Somehow the Ravens were able to stay in the game and figure out a way to be right there on the cusp of tying it in the 60th or 59th minute of the game, despite being -3 in the turnover margin. You shouldn't be able to do that on the road in the AFC division round against a number 2 seed. How were the Ravens able to do it? Number one, they're extremely talented, explosive on offense, and the Bills' defense didn't stop us. We turned the football over 3 times. Lamar, 2 costly turnovers. Andrews, a fumble in the fourth quarter when I believe the score is 24-19 and the Ravens are going down to score. If you accept my assertion that they couldn't stop us, maybe we only close to 24-22. I think that was largely up to us and the play calls we used and the execution that we did or did not demonstrate on a particular concept. You have to give credit to the Bills. I think the reality is through 120 minutes of these two teams playing each other, once in the regular season in Baltimore, once in the playoffs in Buffalo, you can't watch the game and think that the Buffalo, or conclude that the Buffalo Bills have more offensive or defensive talent than we do. They're very conservative. They're very smart. They certainly played tough. I think in my preview video, I mentioned 2 or 3 times I expected them to come out playing really downhill on defense early. It didn't necessarily matter. We still scored every possession when we didn't turn the football over, meaning in the first half. I think Lamar and Mark Andrews and the entire Ravens team have got to focus on self-preservation, protecting the ball in certain moments. Particularly Andrews in the fourth quarter, but also Lamar when he's one-on-one in space with Damar Hamlin. Would you expect Hamlin to be able to contain him or tackle him or even get a fumble in that situation? No, you would not. Nonetheless, it did occur. We have got to have a smarter mentality or smarter approach on offense in terms of protecting the football. The Bills have done that. I think they've kind of gone through that process. How are they able to get it done? Quality, consistent offensive line play and concepts that are safe, but also put the defense in tremendous conflict. Essentially, their duo downhill run game out of 11 personnel where they're stacking a second tight end. I mean, they call him a wide receiver, Mac Hollins, but let's be honest with you. He doesn't have wide receiver skills generally. He's used as a blocker in their 11 personnel grouping to try to run the ball against your nickel set and generate yards with a running back coming downhill and double teams at the point of attack. It's a great concept that they use. It's conservative, designed to generate 3 yards at minimum, getting the running back to the line of scrimmage, and put Josh Allen and the Bills in as many 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 3 situations as possible because they believe they can convert on 4th and 1. So credit to them for that strategy. In my opinion, it also is reflective of the fact that the Baltimore Ravens' biggest opponent at times is the Baltimore Ravens players and coaches themselves. And we saw that bear out on Sunday night once again. Not easy to admit and certainly not easy to watch. My apologies. Let's get to some of the film. And I want to talk about the offensive line in this video. And in fact, I'm going to talk about the offensive line for most of the offseason. I think it is our biggest spot where we can safeguard our team and give Lamar as much time as possible on pass concepts, number one, and Derrick Henry and Justice Hill and Keaton Mitchell as many run lanes as possible to take advantages of defenses like this one. Look at what we're not able to accomplish on these first 2 plays in the run game. It's 21 personnel. We're trying to run it back into the boundary against the Bills' weak side defense. And number one, Rosengarten can't close off the backside defensive end. Rousseau, 50, who played a really nice game. Linderbaum getting a nice combo up to the Mike backer, Bernard. We're getting stood up here by the defensive tackle. Ricard is working up to Milano. Linderbaum is going to close down on 43, and he's going to take him in this direction. If we can get anything done on this backside here with the right guard and right tackle in terms of securing that side, we've got the potential for a good run play here. As it stands, we're unable to do that. Like I said, this is the first play of the game. I think offensive line consistency, offensive line talent has got to be one of the focuses for this team in the offseason, whether it's the draft or through free agency. Very next play, 2nd and 9, and we're going to go down, sweep into the boundary. I've got a little bit of problem with how we're trying to execute this, to be honest with you. But number one, our kick out block sucks by Patrick McCarry up here at the top side. The defensive end, 57, however you say his name, is able to fold back inside and make the tackle. It's a down sweep, so what we're trying to do is get the center, Linderbaum, out in front to lead for Derrick Henry. We're trying to move these guys from a nickel standpoint, and we're getting the corner following across. As an aside, yeah, they did play more man than maybe we expected. It still didn't work. I mean, we had guys open all over the place, and in fact, some of their better man defenders got beat, in fact, smoked by some of our guys. We'll show you some of those throughout the course of this video. You got a down block by Ronnie Stanley that isn't extremely forceful here, to be honest with you, and then McCarry is supposed to kick out this defensive end here. He kind of bows back, and I'm not sure why. Additional to that, I don't know why we're doing this to Falele. He can't get this accomplished. Rosengarten gets decked, by the way. I don't think he trips over anyone's feet. But along with this scheme on the front side, what we're trying to do is we're trying to pull the center to lead through the kick-out block or underneath the kick-out block, and we're asking Falele to scoop. It just can't happen, and it doesn't happen. So, I mean, I don't care if you don't like me pointing it out. I really don't. In fact, I encourage you to tell me I'm wrong in the comment section when there's fucking film of it right here that's existed throughout the entirety of the season. Now, do we have better options? Yes, here's one option, okay? And I'm going to tell you why this doesn't work either. So we could pin back with Linderbaum, and then what are we asking Falele to do? We're asking him to get all the way out here and lead. Yeah, he can pull on power. Why? Because that's not his path. His path is not that elongated. His path is shorter on power, which is the entire reason why some educated football people have been saying that we've got to do something about right guard. We certainly have to do something about left guard in the offseason. If you don't see it after the first two plays, I don't understand what you're watching. We can't cut the guy off on the backside and pull Linderbaum, nor can we pin down with Linderbaum and pull Falele because he doesn't have the agility to get there on that concept either. We were able to get something accomplished in the pass game on that first possession. This is the culminating touchdown to Rashad Bateman on a 3rd and 3. We had gone hurry up here, which I applaud Monken for doing. We kept Henry on the field. A lot of us in the comment section and Ravens content creators have been kind of asking for this, like keep him on the field. We basically are just running snag smash versus a cover 2 is all we're trying to run here. Sitting down and then running Henry out into the flats. Same concept that we've used for a long time, down into the boundary. Doesn't necessarily work, but how does it function? How does it turn into a touchdown for Bateman? Well, it's a 4-man rush. If we can give Lamar time, and again, this is going to be my focus in the offseason, and you will hear this 1,000 times between now and the draft and training camp next year. If we can give Lamar Jackson anything that looks like this, he's absolutely going to kill people, and he's going to be the best player in the league on a more consistent basis because we give him time. When there is less time and less space for Lamar, that's when mistakes pop up, and I think that the 2 turnovers in this game kind of lend some credence to that. Into the second possession here. This is a 2nd and 11. As an aside, defensive tackle and defensive end kicked our ass on the 1st and 10, which is why we ended up in a 2nd and 11 situation in the first place. So we're going up top to Rashad Bateman, and he's got Rasul Douglas beat quite badly. Lamar talked about holding the safety. I don't think that has anything to do with this play, other than the standpoint it would safeguard the safety's ability to get there. But there's nothing here threatening the safety. There's nothing that brings anyone into his field of vision or would possibly cause him to have to jump anything from a depth standpoint, from a release standpoint. Everything for the free safety is down here. Now, additional to that, I want to talk about our natural answer to man-to-man a lot of times has always been the slot fade. Does it have to be so? Does it have to be the slot fade? But in any case, look, this is not designed to be in this area here where the ball is caught. This is designed to be thrown down here. I shared this in our Discord earlier today, and I recognize that some of you will not like me saying this. This is an incredibly poor throw. And the ball kind of knuckles a little bit out of Lamar's hand, and it does it quickly. Like, it's kind of grainy here for you guys. My source screen is very large at this point in 4K, and so my streaming screen, I don't think, grabs the resolution perfectly, but this ball is really dipping, and when you get the end zone angle, you see it wobbling, and the safety is essentially able to run underneath of it like a fly ball in the outfield. When I shared this in the Discord earlier today, and I get it, people may not, it's not enjoyable to share in the first place, but this ball is supposed to be thrown out here. Why? I think the wind has got something to do with it. People listening at this point that are non-Ravens fans are going to say you're making excuses for him. Ravens fans are going to say, why are you going to attack Lamar? It's neither. It's in between those two. I do think the wind plays a role. Lamar is correct in his talking about it. If he holds the safety more with his eyes, then he safeguards the play. But the throw is the part that is the primary mistake, meaning it's really off target. That ball is not supposed to be anywhere near that far in from the sideline. The ball actually starts to knuckle, like it starts to knuckle so soon that I initially thought, was this ball tipped? It was not tipped. And you lose it here right now. But the reality is this ball doesn't have anything on it. I think the wind catches it. You know, maybe I'm wrong, because as it passes here, you see the goalpost. There is no wind at all right here. So how much of a factor did the wind play? I don't know, but functionally, it's a terrible throw. And that's just a reality. I recognize you may not like it. Looking the safety off, all that jazz. Fine. I get it. I know people said, hey, it didn't end up hurting us. Yes, it did. The Buffalo Bills defense can't stop us. The only thing that stopped us Sunday night was us turning the ball over. That's it. Or dropping a 2-point conversion that Mark Andrews should have caught. That ball fluttered out of Lamar's hands. Not sure how. Maybe just doesn't get enough into it. Maybe the wind did have more of an impact than the flags would indicate on the goalpost. In any case, it's a turnover on the second possession when we could have very easily gone down and matched the Bills' touchdown to take a 14-7 lead. Fortunately, they did not score. We get the ball back on our third possession, and we're tied 7-7. So this is before the fumble by Lamar. You can see how these guys are matching up. Of course, it does match. It does work out well for them with Ricard. Hamlin appears to be matching up with Ricard. But once Ricard blocks, you can see Tomlin blitz through that gap, just a readout blitz. One of the things that I actually credit Romo with talking about accurately on Sunday. Really not a fan of listening to him. But in any case, Taron Johnson got beat by multiple guys last night when he was playing man. He didn't look totally healthy to me. I don't know if this is the quality of man coverage that he's played all year. I happen to have a really high opinion of Taron Johnson. Andrews beat him, likely beat him. Hell, Tylan Wallace beat him as well on the play in the fourth quarter where apparently Tylan Wallace fumbled. Give you the end zone angle of this play. There's Milano reading Ricard. So basically, if Ricard was to release, one of those two would block him, would guard him, either Milano or Damar Hamlin. Essentially a bear technique read. Play action to Henry. Lamar is getting it out there to Andrews. Clearly should be caught. Huge drop in that moment. I just don't think anything the Bills did forced us to make these mistakes. That one's haunting because the very next snap, obviously, is the fumble that Von Miller just basically picks up, almost takes it to the house. It's great hustle by Justice Hill to prevent a touchdown. So very next play, I think you've got a situation where this looks like a run-pass option pre-snap for Lamar. The running back looks like he's expecting the football here. You can even see Justice Hill turn and look. Now, it's also possible Justice Hill just recognizes that it's a high snap. But I think you've got run blocking in this direction here. Rosengarten is trying to scoop out the defensive end. I think you got run blocking here. Bateman appears to be setting up for a run here. And then the other option, I think, for Lamar is to the top side to Isaiah Likely as a possible bubble. And we end up with Lamar and Damar Hamlin in space one-on-one. All this room. Like, if that happens 100 times, how often does Damar Hamlin even touch Lamar? I don't know, maybe 5. But in this case, he does a great job of settling his feet in the snow, not providing Lamar an escape lane at all, and then we fumble. I mean, very anomalous. We have to say that because we believe it. But, Bills fans are going to say, hey, we forced that fumble. I don't think so. There's a very poor job of ball security by Lamar. From a quarterback perspective, you have to secure the football. It is the priority in the playoffs for this Ravens team. That message did not seem to have gone through yet. And we are 3-9, I believe, in January since 2018. Of course, Lamar didn't play in the road game against the Cincinnati Bengals in 2022. Well, early 2023, but the 2022 season. All of the guys on this roster, somehow that message has to get through. We're talking about 2 different offensive coordinators at this point, Greg Roman and Todd Monken. Now, hopefully Todd Monken sticks around for 2025. Ridiculous talent on this team. I just don't know where he would go to have anything like he's got with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and all the player position talent that we have. Let's move to the fourth quarter. We obviously wasted that situation on the second one, on the third possession, excuse me. This has happened all year. Defensive tackles stepping out, swimming when they're expecting down blocks. Why? Because of how often we're running power with Ricard. I would like to see us run what I call reverse power. So Ricard motioning to our right, pull the guard, kick out, and then Ricard underneath and wrap, because then you'd be, quote, wrong. Why is this defensive tackle swimming out? Because we've got guard, tackle, tight end on the same side, and down here we've only got guard, tackle, tight end. I mean, it's not rocket science. We've got one extra guy to that side, number one. Number two, Ricard and Macari are going to that side. We're just trying to outnumber them numerically. So, and we've seen this many times in multiple weeks, whereby a defensive tackle who is out-leveraged by alignment, I'm talking about that spot right there, that defensive tackle is going to swim to the outside of Roger Rosengarten. Additional to that, 43, the inside linebacker, he's going low. I don't know if it's legal or not. I know he's a blitzing inside linebacker. He's a guy who plays downhill, and I think he's getting a great read here off Falele's down block. It's a gap scheme, people call it. So you got a down block. Because of the numbers we have over here, the Bills have matched those numbers. I love head-up alignments. So what that means is we're not able to block down because they've got numbers over here to match us. So for whatever reason, we're not helping out Rosengarten. And sure enough, that's right where they swim. He disrupts it. 43 disrupts it. 42 is clean. What do I want to see run? Outside zone. I want to see Derrick Henry run outside zone, whether it's to this side or this side. I don't care. I want to trust that guy right there to make the read, as opposed to giving a predictable look. Yeah, we're trying to outnumber you with Macari, end up being the 5th guy, and Ricard the 6th guy. It didn't work. I've seen too many of these situations in 2024 where D tackles are ripping or swimming across our face. It's a poor series, if you ask me, from a Todd Monken standpoint. That was 1st and goal. I don't think I pointed that out. 2nd and goal, Stanley has reported eligible. Jones has not. If you recall, in previous weeks, Jones has been reporting as eligible. So look at what the Bills are trying to do. They're trying to navigate and figure that out. So credit to Monken for doing that. I'm just not sure that with the talent we have in the backfield at Derrick Henry, that we need to be trying to trick people. And so what I mean is we're obviously trying to get the ball to Ronnie Stanley here, releasing out into the flats. Another option for Lamar is Andrews running the drag underneath. For me, if that's the concept that we're going to run, we got to get a pick on this inside linebacker with Tylan Wallace. But he's being told to run a route across the field, carry that defender with him. Clearly, Stanley is trying to run a route. This defensive end staying with him. We've never shown that on film before. There's also a hold that's not called here, so we're fortunate that that's not called. By the way, it is on Daniel Falele. We take a sack on a 2nd and goal. I don't want to trick people with Derrick Henry. If I do, I want to put him in the Wildcat. I trust his instincts. I trust his killer instinct. I get it. We've got what we think is the best player in the league at Lamar Jackson. We're very fortunate that the next play didn't result in another turnover. I'm talking about the late pass to Derrick Henry, but we had already lost initiative at that point. The sack, Monken creating a situation where he's trying to use Jones as bait. I get it because he'd reported eligible so many times. I'm just not sure that Ronnie Stanley is the guy we want to target down there, but I digress. 3rd and goal. I think the ball's on the 8. A little bit of a semi-roll. Bateman kind of cuts his route off here. He kind of sits down in this area. Taron Johnson triggers downhill. He's the guy that almost forces a turnover here, if you ask me. A ball thrown by Lamar with Milano converging down on him. This is almost like, it almost ends up looking like what some people call dash. I don't know that it necessarily really is, because normally when we get that, we're pinning down on the defensive end. I'm talking about Von Miller, and we're doing that normally with a tight end or a run or a fullback, in Ricard. In this situation with Henry stepping out here, I'd almost like to see him help secure the edge. But, the coaching of it has already been done, so I don't think we can necessarily blame him. But for my money, if we're not going to utilize some pass, and by the way, the pass concept is a high-low up here. It's Aguilar into the flats, likely on a corner route. We're trying to read this corner. It's Rasul Douglas, who's a zone corner, if you ask me. At least about watching the film on Sunday night, he looked like he's better in zone than man to me. We're very fortunate that ball didn't end up popping up. We were down 14-7. We settled for the field goal to get to within 14-10. Ended up being down 21-10 at the half. To that point, didn't think the defense was playing great, to be honest with you, but we had also put them in a hole a couple of times with turnovers by Lamar. Moving forward, skipping the 3rd quarter, look, our defense came out on fire, doing a great job getting us the ball back a couple of times, limiting the Bills to a longer field goal and then stopping them inside the 5 before the final drive. So we're going to show this 2nd and 11, unfortunately. And the thing I want to point out is 43 forces the fumble, but he's absolutely opened the wrong way on this concept. It ends up looking like a 3 deep, 3 under. I mean, he's opening into a safety who's spinning down, and he's also opening away from the 3 receiver side. So it starts out 2x2 here and here. So the pass strength would be to the right, so that's why he's opening up that way. But motion changes that. Here's your 3 receivers. He should be opening to this side with his eyes in this direction, because there's a safety spinning down to be the hot 2 player over here. Well, there is no 2. Number 2 would be Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry is pass prone. So Bernard, 43, opens the wrong way. And then because of that, Andrews is absolutely wide open in the middle of the field to the trips, to the 3 receiver side, and ends up working out in the Bills' favor. Very anomalous. 43 even called it lucky. That's a great effort by him. But what he's saying is it's lucky that he got his hand on the ball. Now, but we got to take ownership. Mark Andrews, in my opinion, catch the ball, get upfield. It's the 4th quarter. We need a touchdown to win this football game. You are not going to juke and run across the field and get significant yardage such that we should be risking the football. I get it. You're a playmaker. In my opinion, there has to be a recognition of the situation, and that's the part that the Baltimore Ravens really struggle with. Situational awareness. I also get it. There's going to be people in the comment section say, he's a playmaker. He's got more touchdowns than any of our receivers in history. We want him trying to get yards and make plays. No, we don't. Not in the 4th quarter of an AFC divisional round game where we're trying to win the fucking game and move on to the AFC championship game. Mark Andrews needs to have better ball security in that situation, just like Lamar when he's dealing with DeMar Hamlin earlier in the game. In January, protecting the football is paramount. The Bills did a better job of it. They played not to lose on offense, and they didn't. We, yes, racked up a ton of yards. Lamar played spectacular in the second half, got us down there with a chance to tie the game in the 4th quarter, but we didn't protect the football for 60 minutes, and that's why we're sitting at home watching and complaining like I am right now. Finally, the touchdown pass to Likely. Notice here the 4-man rush by the Bills. Well, technically it's a 3+1 is what it is. So you've got, I think it's Williams here trying to be a spy or +1. I'm not sure if that's going to work out in their favor if Lamar is able to break contain. But 43 kind of overextends a little bit. He chips Andrews, which you always want to see from an inside linebacker, and he flows in this direction. As a result, when Andrews gets up off the deck and runs across the field, Hamlin is going to take him. So what does that do? Opens things up for likely, so kind of like a domino effect, if you will, coming back across the screen. When you get the end zone angle, man, like, you don't have to believe me. You don't have to convince yourself. If we get Lamar time, every situation is not going to look like this, obviously, but if we get Lamar time, he'll make plays like this in big moments. I have no worry about Lamar making clutch plays. I have no concern about Lamar being able to make plays in January. My concern is ball security and protecting the football with everyone on the Baltimore Ravens team, and that includes Lamar and Mark Andrews. Additional to that, I've mentioned it twice already. You will hear me say it a ton. My focus is on offensive line, not wide receiver, damn sure not offensive linebacker, edge defender, when we have two guys that just put up double-digit sacks, and David Ojabo is under contract, and Tavius Robinson played his ass off in the game against the Bills. And, oh, by the way, we drafted a guy in the third round last year that we shouldn't have drafted anyway. Why in that world will we be worried about another outside linebacker? Secure and improve the offensive line, because this guy right here, with the best offensive line in the league, is completely unstoppable. He's damn near unstoppable anyway at this point. There's the +1. I just don't think there's a good option for the defense if we're able to pass pro and give him time. They've handed us the dynamic here because of the 3+1. And in this case, it didn't work out at all. Likely coming back across the screen. Like I said, I didn't think Taron Johnson looked good in coverage at all. We're -3 turnover margin. A minute 33 left in the game, and we're still only down by 2 points. How do you reconcile that? Well, because we have so much talent, number one, and because our offense has been asked to execute so many different concepts through the course of 2023 and 2024 that even when it counts in difficult situations like this, we can execute it. But small details here are big. Number one, Andrews got to catch the ball, all right? He has to catch the ball, but this ball has to be out earlier. The timing on this is messed up because Lamar kind of pump fakes a little bit. The ball is near to the left hash. Why? Because we're sprinting Lamar out to the right. The only problem I don't like with the concept is we really don't have a second option. This is all Mark Andrews. It's also possible that we had two plays called in the huddle, and depending on their alignment, if they didn't show man like they've got here, then maybe we would check to a different option. In any case, and I recognize that you won't like me saying this, but Lamar has to get this ball out earlier. That slight pump fake as he gets outside the right hash is what causes there to be less space, and so he doesn't want to throw the ball out here and make Mark Andrews be out of bounds. Again, should Mark Andrews catch the football? Yes, but that ball should not be there. That ball should have been thrown earlier, and Andrews should already be walking into the end zone, in my opinion. Same play from the end zone angle. Here's the slight little pump fake that Lamar gives, which is not part of the coaching it right there. The ball should be out already. Off screen to our left, the offense is right. The pick rub has already occurred. There is no other option on this play, which is the reason why I'm explaining it to you this way. There's no other option for it at all. I think Andrews has to catch the football 100 times out of 100 there. Yes, the throw could have been sooner, and the throw could have been in a better position to give Andrews a 105% chance to catch the football. In any case, the turnovers, the small details came back to haunt us again. Last year, I think the Chiefs beat us. They played better. They executed, particularly on their first two drives against our defense, and went down and got 2 touchdowns. I don't think the Bills needed to beat us Sunday night. They let us do it for them. And that's the MO of this team right now, whether it's the fumbles, the interceptions, the drops by Mark Andrews, the mistiming there in a critical situation. We shouldn't have been in that moment, in that predicament anyway, needing a 2-point conversion to tie with a minute 30 left, possibly leaving Josh Allen and their offense enough time to get down the field anyway for a game-winning field goal. But the point is, the Baltimore Ravens continue to be their biggest enemy, particularly in January. 3-6, I believe, since 2018, which is kind of hard to believe with how much talent we have, especially in the last 2 years. In any case, My apologies for not getting a reaction video done Sunday evening. Dealing with a couple of situations with my young children, so just didn't have opportunity to do so. If you appreciate this video, please let me know in the comment section. I recognize that there will be complaints about my criticism of the offensive line, Mark Andrews, and Lamar Jackson, but that is all part of the formula or the equation that caused us to be in the situation we were in and suffer another postseason defeat in a game that we all think we should have won. Appreciate you guys' time. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy my analysis here, please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.